When it comes to war, Switzerland has a reputation for keeping their hands clean, always choosing to remain neutral, perhaps most famously in World War II, just like good old Ireland. Although, to be fair, I'd say we had less of a stake in that fight, Historically speaking, neither side was exactly a dream team for us. The devil you know versus the enemy of my enemy. It was a bit like being a little mouse locked in a cage with two cats fighting over what's for dinner. I'm being facetious, of course, although we were officially neutral. We cooperated with the Allies enough to call that into question. But Switzerland's record of neutrality isn't exactly spotless. In fact, they've invaded Liechtenstein on 3 separate occasions, and all by accident. They've even bombed them. So how did they end up doing that? Well, we'll first answer the question most of you are wondering. What the fuck is a Liechtenstein? Sounds like some sort of depraved act one would witness in a German nightclub. Liechtenstein is a tiny little country in between Switzerland and Austria. It came into being in 1719 as a principality of the Holy Roman Empire, ruled by the House of Liechtenstein. And even today, the Prince of Liechtenstein is the head of state. It is Europe's 4th smallest country, with an area of just 160 square kilometers and a population of over 30,000 people. It is doubly landlocked, meaning not only is the country itself landlocked, but all its surrounding countries are landlocked too. The only other doubly landlocked country in the world is Uzbekistan. And while these facts are mildly interesting, they're all things you're going to forget as soon as you click on to the next video, which better be mine, by the way. So let's move on. Well, maybe one more fact. Liechtenstein is the world's largest producer and exporter of false teeth, accounting for more than 20% of total sales worldwide. There's something pleasing and relaxing about mildly interesting facts. I should make an ASMR series of me reading them out. Switzerland and Liechtenstein have an unusual relationship. Although Liechtenstein is its own sovereign nation, you would think it's part of Switzerland. They share a currency and language, they have an open border with one another. Liechtenstein doesn't have an army, so Switzerland accepts a role of safeguarding it, like an older brother. Liechtenstein even allows Switzerland to represent them abroad. They can enter into treaties on their behalf, and they handle a lot of diplomatic relations for them. They have a very cute relationship. It's a shame not all neighbours can get along like these two. But the relationship has been strained at times due to the aforementioned unintentional military action undertaken by Switzerland. The earliest mention of any such blunders I can find is the 14th of October 1968, when the Swiss army mistakenly lobbed explosives into a Liechtenstein ski resort. And yes, it's very strange to say Swiss army and not finish with knife. I feel like I've just turned on the oven and left the house. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the ski resort, that is. There were a few unfortunate casualties in my oven adventures. The first actual invasion occurred in 1976 when over 70 Swiss troops and their 50 horses took a wrong turn and ended up half a kilometre into Liechtenstein territory, where they came across the locals. The locals thought it was pretty funny and offered them drinks. The army thought it was pretty embarrassing and immediately left. The next incident, although not an invasion, was actually pretty serious when the Swiss launched rockets into a Liechtenstein forest, causing a forest fire and resulting in massive damage. The Swiss claimed the error was down to bad weather conditions and had to pay out millions of francs to cover the damages. The second invasion was in 1992. A group of army cadets were on instructions to set up an observation post in the village of Traisenberg. Doing this caused some concern among the locals, who were understandably curious as to why a foreign army was setting up shop in their country in full combat gear. Apparently, Swiss command had just forgot that Traisenberg was in another country. They left, and Switzerland issued an apology. The most recent invasion was in 2007. Around 170 troops mistakenly marched a couple of kilometers into Liechtenstein territory under bad weather conditions. Upon realizing they made a swift retreat, when Switzerland apologized, Liechtenstein said they didn't even notice it had happened. And there you have it, Switzerland's record as aggressive conqueror of Liechtenstein. All their actions were accidents, although I really think you can only perform the same accident once or twice before it's not an accident anymore. Alls I know is, they sure as shit wouldn't have had any of these accidents with Germany. Oh mein Gott. The Swiss are exploding rockets in the fatherland. Hans! Graben Sie Flammenwerfer! Sie Panzer first! Sie Sturmgewehr! The time has come again. Other than the forest fire incident, Liechtenstein always readily forgave Switzerland and was cool about the whole thing. Just a nice bunch of people. And that's the video. The end. Alright, maybe one more mildly interesting fact. The last time Liechtenstein fielded an army was in the Austro-Prussian War of 1866. They had 80 men, and they didn't receive any casualties. In fact, they returned with 81 men as an Italian dude had joined up with them. They went off to war and came back with more men than they started with, giving credence to my theory that the Prince of Liechtenstein is actually a Lich King. And maybe that's what Liechtenstein means. Lich something. Lich something. If you made it this far into the video, then there's probably a good chance that you have binged all my videos and are quickly running out of content to watch. Maybe you're actually up to date and now you just have to wait until next week until I put out another video. Well, actually that is not the case, because I have a second channel that is Cuxer2, and I already have over an hour's worth of content up over there. Unless you're viewing this in the future, in which case I have even more. So if you want to see more from me, head on over to Cuxer2 and subscribe and stay safe. Thanks guys.